Hi everyone, welcome back. And today I am super excited to share with you my first ever RAGBRAI experience. If you're not familiar with RAGBRAI, let me fill you in. RAGBRAI stands for Register's Annual Great Bicycle Ride Across Iowa. And it is an incredible week-long event where thousands of cyclists from all over the world come together to ride across the state of Iowa, covering nearly 500 miles. It is the oldest, largest, and longest recreational bicycle touring event in the entire world. In this video, I'll take you through my personal journey as a first-time participant. Whether you're a seasoned cyclist or just curious about this unique event, I hope to give you a glimpse into what makes RAGBRAI such a memorable experience. The way I trained and packed for RAGBRAI depended on the route. The 2024 route was set to be the hilliest ride in RAGBRAI history. And of course, hearing this made me feel a little apprehensive, as I never took on a significant bicycle ride like this before. But the route was going to start in Glenwood, Iowa, and it was going to end on the other side of the state in Burlington. And along the way, we were going to make overnight stops in Red Oak, Atlantic, Winterset, Knoxville, Ottumwa, and Mount Pleasant. And this year's ride covered a total of 434 miles with an elevation gain of 18,737 feet. What made this route particularly challenging was the daily climbs. Days like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday were especially tough, with distances ranging from 74 to 82 miles in a single day. But don't worry, there were some shorter days which did help us recover. Despite the hills, the route promised stunning views and a chance to experience the beauty of southern Iowa, which is somewhere we haven't really explored before, so we were ready to take on this challenge. Let's start with discussing our journey. We kicked things off with a road trip, picking up B-Rad along the way. And as we drove toward Burlington, it all started to feel very real because we saw other RAGBRAI-bound participants entering the town, and it was both exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. We stayed at a hotel that night, we tried to relax, we walked through a local casino, but the anticipation did make it really hard to calm our nerves. The next day, we parked our car in Burlington, and then we loaded our bicycles onto a charter bus that was going to take us across the state. The bus ride was fun, and we did strike up conversations with several longtime RAGBRAI riders. And they shared stories about previous rides, and they gave us tips about the ride itself. But it was incredible to meet so many different people united by a love of cycling. Before the ride, Glenwood hosted an expo where there were vendors and live entertainment. We took this as an opportunity to gear up for the week and enjoy ourselves. Hello, we're at Glenwood, Iowa for our expo, day 0 of RAGBRAI 2024. We got here early. The expo doesn't open until noon, but we've been walking around and checking out the vendors and the food options. The weather's great. It's in the 60s right now. It did rain all morning, but hopefully that weather keeps up without the rain, so we have a nice cold start tomorrow. But you can see people setting up all their tents. Now let's talk about the day-by-day highlights, memorable moments, and challenges of this adventure. Day 1 was from Glenwood to Red Oak. It was a short day, just over 40 miles and 2,400 feet to climb. This Airbnb in Glenwood was the perfect place to relax before starting our journey. We stayed in Conestoga wagons outfitted with modern-day amenities. And Steve and I just woke up. It's a little after 5 a.m. We slept pretty well. You can see that we are in this unique accommodation.
she did leave us some yogurt, bananas, and some trail mix, so we're off to a good start.
We kayaked, pet cats, fed alpacas, and waddled with ducks. We even watched the sunset among the hay bales. The wonderful host gave us a lift into Glenwood to start our ride, and they dropped us off alongside the road and left us on our own. We bicycled through the morning fog, following the crowd and getting used to the number of cyclists around us. Seeing the first pass through town come into view was really exciting. There were already crowds there before 7 a.m. We took a break, chat on some cinnamon buns, and strolled through the town with our bicycles. It was already lively with music blaring down the street. We had a goal to take a selfie in each pass through town, and I think we got most of them along our journey. As the week went on, it did become more difficult to remember all the names of the towns we went through though. One of the highlights each day was stopping at the beer tent. The boys enjoyed their beer, while I stuck to root beer. There'd be signs posted at 5, 3, and 1 mile before the stop. And let me tell you, seeing those signs made you start to salivate. These stops were perfectly placed along the route and offered the best resting locations. The boys learned if you bought so many beers, you got a free t-shirt at the end. We did stop at each and every free beer stop along the way too. We found our first one on this leg of the trip. We also spotted farm animals and stopped for photos. And seeing the orange water tower and red oak at the end of the leg was super exciting. Day 2 was from Red Oak to Atlantic. It was another short day with about 40 miles and 1,700 feet to climb. We woke up refreshed and started cycling at sunrise. Day 2 wasn't all that eventful, with a few stops in towns with cute themes. Griswold was cute with their National Lampoon theme. As the town approached, there was a guy dressed up like Uncle Eddie with a hose, and I wish I snapped a picture. In Lewis, we were greeted by a large flying American flag. This town gave me my first grilled cheese of this trip too. It was like the first of 30. We took time to rest, chat with other cyclists, and sign the Lewis RAGBRAI charter. We couldn't help but stop for a photo with the town goat, who sucked on my knee right after I sat down. And of course, we made our epic beer stops throughout the day. We saw some friends we made on the charter bus at these stops too. But we rested in the grass, we watched the other cyclists, and we just took some much needed rest from the sun. It was a fairly uneventful day, and we got into Atlantic in the early afternoon. We started our day way before 6 a.m. on day 3.
Okay, we are day 3 RAGBRAI. You can see back there our room door is open. Steve is still getting ready. It's 5 o'clock. We're up bright and early and ready to get going because we have almost 90 miles to do today. So we'll have to see how it goes. Right now the weather is actually cold, where I have long sleeves on. I got my bike lights on. But you can see, since it's early and the route doesn't open until 6, they're getting the roads ready right now for the cyclist. And we'll have to see how today goes.
We got to Wyoda around 6 a.m. and we were surprised at the number of riders already there. We continued riding through the rolling hills of Iowa, enjoying the cold mist of the fog on our skin and watching the hot blaring sun start to burn through. All before 10 a.m., we met other cyclists, ate pie, took some photos, stopped at a free beer stop, and Steve even stopped to help someone that was having bike trouble before the Air Force cycling team came along. As I waited alongside the road for him to finish, I could hear pigs squealing in a nearby farm too. As we approached Greenfield, everyone got quiet, as a violent tornado recently went through the town. There were foundations without homes, cars stacked on top of debris, and trees stripped of their bark. It was really a sight to see, and we just had to stop and take a moment to take it all in. In the town square, we listened to an announcer tell about the town's fundraiser, met some small friends, and enjoyed our energy drinks out of the sun. I want to say, I can't believe how many free energy drinks we consumed during RAGBRAI. They were everywhere. However, these energy drinks were much appreciated throughout the ride. One of my favorite stops was an agricultural stop outside of Orient.
So we are almost to Orient. We stopped at this agriculture stop on top of a hill. They had free beef sticks, free eggs on a stick. I got a little toy pig. And then there's animals at a petting zoo. I think there's corn necklaces inside, and then water. So good stop. And we get a rest from the heat.
The day kept getting hotter and hotter, and this required more breaks. I personally was thankful for the last beer stop, as the sun was just being relentless. The root beer tasted so very good. And then came the climb. This climb lasted forever, probably about 40 minutes or so. I could feel the sun beating on my skin, and the sweat rolled down my face, and all I could really think about was getting to the top of the hill. This was it. This was it for the day. This is all I had to do. So we climbed and we climbed. Steve stopped for a free beer somewhere, but I kept going. I didn't stop. There was no stopping for me. And I waited at the top of the hill for Steve and Brad, and it was just nice to take a rest, cool off a little bit. They finally came up and they met me, and we cycled through Winterset to our Airbnb, and we stopped by a mural, we met some locals, and we also saw the John Wayne Museum too. But that hill climb was definitely an accomplishment for the day. So day 4 was another big day, with 75 miles of riding and more than 3,000 feet of climb from Winterset to Knoxville. The ride started by going down the same hill we climbed the day before. Now, the first hill of each day was always a killer. It killed my calves and made them burn, and today was no different. Stretching and warming up in the morning did help, but as the event went on, the more my calves burned going up that very first hill each and every day. Getting to the top of the hill was always a relief, but the pro was I did get to take the rest at the top of the hill each day, and I could people watch all the cyclists as they went past me. St. Charles was a unique spot because they had a Casey's. Casey's meant breakfast pizza, and this became an iconic frequent stop for us on our journey. And I can tell you that none of us lost any weight from going on this ride. Now, St. Charles also had a charming covered bridge that you could ride through as part of the route. All I could think about was how lucky I was to experience a crossing through one of these epic bridges of Madison County. As we continued our day with more resting, grilled cheeses, and water breaks, we ended up taking a very long rest in Melcher, Dallas under the epic water tower. It was definitely a good place to cool off. And the sun continued to beat down on us, and once again we were thankful for the last beer stop of the day.
So we are at the end of day 4. We did around 75 miles, maybe 79. Some of the maps were a little different. We're still 3 miles from our hotel in Knoxville, but we are at our last stop right now. It is the Iowa beer tent. We've been stopping at all those because Steve and Brad got wristbands and they can get a free t-shirt at the end if they get 10 beers at 10 stops. So right now we are taking a rest. I can see my lips on the video. My lip is very sunburned, windburned, all the above right now. So I've been trying to keep it covered with sunscreen in the day. You can see B-Rad behind me. He is taking a rest. We have Steve over here, also taking a rest. And you can see all the bicyclists. They all park off the side of the road because we are so close to the end town. So this is just a place where everybody hangs out, rests, and rejuvenates before they get to the end town during the last couple miles. We were looking at tomorrow. We have only a little over 60 miles, so we're really looking forward to that.
I just want to note that Brad was so exhausted that he only took off one shoe before he took a nap. Anyways, we heard thunder in the distance and we didn't want to get wet, so we proceeded toward Knoxville. It wasn't all that far, but the wind started to pick up, and the crosswinds were so strong that they were actually blowing us all over the road. But I'm thankful to say that no storm ever came, and we did make it to the town safe and sound. Day 5 was from Knoxville to Ottumwa. After a great night of rest and relaxation and a quick breakfast, we were ready to go.
All right, we are day 5. We are in Knoxville, Iowa currently. And today we are riding the whole way to Ottumwa, Iowa. So it's about 62 miles or so. Right now he's downstairs getting breakfast. I'm eating an orange. It's supposed to be hot, sunny, 90 degrees again. Hopefully there's no headwind like there was at the end of yesterday, because that will be terrible today.
This was a pretty uneventful day compared to the others, but we did see windmills, there was some bull riding, tractors, and just some short stops through towns.
Just taking a quick video of our stop today. Our first stop's Attica, Iowa. They're pretty lively. It's around 7 o'clock. The guys in the Speedos went in the dunk tank. I think he just fell in. And then we try to get Brad to ride that bull back there, but it's so early.
It was fun to ride on the rolling hills and the winding roads leading into Ottumwa. Ottumwa was a quaint town with an old movie theater and nice sunset views. So day 6 was another big day, and for some reason it just wasn't on our radar. But it was another 80-mile day with more than 3,000 feet of climb. For some reason, we all woke up completely irritable and angry this morning. We didn't speak a word to each other for a full 3 hours. We rode our bicycles in silence, and we just gave each other the space that we needed. It was very difficult to stay focused and motivated, and we knew that this journey would be hard, but we really weren't prepared to go through each and every emotion that you could possibly feel. A little while later, when we got to Eldon, we completely changed. We were happy and laughing together, and all was well with the world. Now, Eldon was one of our favorite pass-through towns. As you approached town, there was a colorful mural that just welcomed you. As we left Eldon, we saw an irresistible stop. It was cats and lemonade. Who could resist? We cuddled with the kittens and we drank lemonade, We watched the other cyclists go by and wave to them. And it was just something that made our day, especially after having the rough morning that we experienced. We proceeded to the American Gothic house. And it was hard not to laugh as we tried to recreate the famous American Gothic farmer poses too. Now today turned into a very good day because we found another free beer stop along the way and we could take a rest. We enjoyed the ride with our infamous townie selfies. We watched riders cool off in a makeshift swimming pool, and we took a walk under some water to cool off. This was our longest day. We arrived at Mount Pleasant a little after 7 p.m., all sweaty, tired, and absolutely famished. Day 7, the final day.
All right, day 7. Yesterday I did not make a video because in the morning everybody was absolutely grumpy. It was a very long day. We ended up leaving at 6. We got to Mount Pleasant a little after 7 p.m. and the headwind all day just killed my legs. As the day went on, the windier it got, and it just made for a very, very long day. And granted, it's under 10 miles per hour. However, since I'm a slow rider, I mean, if I'm riding 10 miles an hour and there's a 6 mile per hour wind, you know, I'm not going very fast. So we ended up not doing the sensory ride, which was probably a good thing on our part.
We got an early start once again, and we were excited for this day. And I am glad to say that I conquered the route today. The rolling hills are my thing, being from Pennsylvania and all. And the rolling hills are great because it gives you a chance to rest your butt bones and take a breather in between the hills. We rode on the road as it winded down into Burlington, and this is where our journey started. We were back to the beginning. We arrived at the Mississippi River and got in line for the epic tire dipping. We dipped our tires into the river and Steve majestically lifted his bicycle up over his head, a tradition of the RAGBRAI experience. And then we continued over to Snake Alley, we rode through Burlington, and then we rode just a few miles away to our vehicle to pack up and head home.
So we just finished over 400 miles. There goes B-Rad. There's Steve. We're biking to the pork belly parking area. It's like 2.5 miles from the Mississippi River. We dipped our tires. We finished the route, RAGBRAI 51. It was sunny today. We had headwinds. We went slow, we went fast, we stopped at the stops, but we didn't eat very much. So once we get to the vehicle, we're gonna go meet Rick for lunch. But overall, right now I'm really hot, so it's hard to say. You know, it's hard to talk about the sunburn and the windburn and everything. I have some sit bone pain. My wrist hurt earlier in the week, so did Brad's, but mine feels a little better now. I have a blister on my toe. Brad's feet burnt. Brad's glasses broke this morning and Steve fixed them in somebody's yard. I mean, it was an adventure, and we'll just leave it at that.
Until next time, keep on bicycling and experiencing all the adventures that you can.